Ricks and Brogan to do the ruck work. Late change for Port Adelaide if you missed it. Cracker out and Daniel Pearce back in. And we are underway. Brogan almost with the reach. Chad Corns caught, tied up. Secondary ball up.
Surgeon's got the job on Stephen Milne. You've got Carlisle picking up Charlie Gardner.
Clark, Armitage, Burst and Robert Harvey starting on the bench for the Saints. Travis Boak, sensational last week. Handball missed the target early here. Surgeon, nicely. Back to Boak. It's about the best game of his career last week from Boak. Kane Corn slips through a couple, sends it in the Treadray direction, can't get anywhere near it. And Sam Fisher.
Well, it's going to be a tough night for Warren Treadray. He's got Max Hudson as an opponent, and he was in scintillating form last week on Matthew Lloyd.
Just important that kick going into the forward 50 has to be calculated and just hung on to a little bit more. He had the time, because if you're going to kick to a St. Kilda defence boasting numbers, you're just going to help them mount their attack.
Surgeon saw Stephen Baker get a possession with Dempster. They've turned it over, and now Cassisi sends it wide, and Motlop, he likes that pocket too. Maybe just beyond his range, but if it's a confident Daniel Motlop, he'll have a crack and slot it.
Well, that was a much better forward entry by the Port Adelaide Football Club. At least if he doesn't mark it, he's still got a chance to take it over the line and they can contest it through a boundary throwing. But in these conditions, you've got to keep the ball in there as long as you can.
He didn't get his full quota of 30 seconds. He was lining up and he looked at the umpire pleadingly and said, "What are you doing to me?"
Well, then once he realised it was play on, he did just wait. He waited his full complement to see what would unfold. He was prepared to take the man on the mark if need be.
Pettigrew long and Maguire almost. Westhoff knocked it away from him. And Lee Fisher's handball towards Sam Fisher, almost to the line. Motlop's about to swoop on it, leaves it behind.
It was good work by young Westhoff, 2-on-1 there, and he actually brought the ball down the ground. Now, his form hasn't been great. He got a little bit back into it, but he just has to get a bit stronger in the upper body department and just bullock and work the ball to the ground if he can't mark it.
Blade, Thompson, Pearce and Logan starting on the bench for Port Adelaide.
No surprise to see Kane Corns going to Nick Del Santo, but a little bit of surprise. Stephen Baker thought he might have had an on-ball role on Sean Burgoyne. He's playing in the back pocket on Brett Ebert.
Ricks, the palm down. And a free kick to Lenny Hayes for too high. So Lenny will take it.
Probably just to break him in too, Jason. He has been out for a while, so get him to run at the footy or the footy to come to him.
You've also got Jason Blake running with Chad Corns.
Jason Graham kicks wide towards the wing. Chad Corns dragged down. Another ball up from umpire Matt Stevick. Second time Chad Corns has had it. The second time he hasn't been able to get it away. He is the key. Brogan front spot this time, but Rick's got a hand on it. Roden can't break free. Hands out. Blake, Hayes, Del Santo. Tucked up against the boundary line. Blake, Hayes, Graham now. And the midfield's open, and he misses the target with the kick. Cut off by Salopek. Put Adelaide away on the rebound. Sean Burgoyne tries to shrug the tackle.
Great tackle, Jason Graham.
Was a great tackle.
Fingertip, it just clung on, and once he did the 360, got the benefit of the doubt from the umpire.
Well, it was a great escape for St. Kilda there, because they had three guys in the middle of the ground from that transfer, and he hit a Port Adelaide player running through. So I know it is a little bit slippery out there, but got to take your chance, especially early in this game.
With the hurry up, Dempster all the way back to Stephen Baker for his first game of the year. Good to see him back after that 7-game suspension for the hit on Jeff Farmer. Stephen Baker, a suspension that was only 1 week less than Barry Hall got, if you can believe that. And Baker, with a second possession, heads wide to Hudson, whose game last week was spectacular. Kept Matthew Lloyd goalless last week. Max Hudson, so he's in very good form. Goddard
completing some of those matchups too. I know Lee Fisher's got the job on Sean Burgoyne, and it's Michael Pettigrew that's now gone back onto Milne, and Serjan's gone on to Lee Montagna.
Goddard sends it all the way back to Maguire. Now to the open side. Dempster can run. Collects and goes. That's what he has in front of him. Some open spaces. Sends it long. Kazitsky. Front spot. Bounced off his chest. Peter Burgoyne. Brogan had to wait and maybe waited too long. Gardner's tackle. Magnificent. No prior opportunity. Ball up.
Been worked hard. Nearly could have got a free kick for the arms around him, Kozeski, but did work hard to get the front spot.
Well, the free kick to the Saints now, and it'll go to Stephen Milne. Asks for it, and he doesn't get it. Jason Blake does.
Yeah, it's gone against Chad Corns just there. You saw a bit of push and shove off the ball. He's thrown that a little bit high and just caught him high, and that's good umpiring. The umpire from further afield saw what was going on, and any high contact will cost you a free kick.
Jason Blake from just inside 50 for the first score of the night. Swings a little and he misses.
And Chad Corn straight over to tell him all about it too.
2 balls on the field at the moment, so there's no kick in allowed. They've got to get that right, the AFL, surely. That happens every week. Short pass is good to Kasisi. And the 1-2, back again, Peter Burgoyne. Misses the target. Gardner takes the mark. Open forward line. Milne calls to the pocket. Heading his direction, won't get there, and Thurston's dragged down.
Might be 50.
Well, discipline's the order, especially these two sides. They have been known to go at each other. We saw Chad Corns give one away, and now Milne. I mean, it was a low percentage kick, 2-on-1, and the smallest bloke on the ground. But instead of contesting the ball deep in your...
Gee, Milne and Kane Corns going out of the middle as well.
With all due respect to Stephen Milne, he shouldn't be trying to be the physical one either. That's not
right.
his go.
Yeah.
Kasisi is one of his partners in crime. Fraser Gehrig not playing tonight for the Saints. Played in the reserves in Hobart. Didn't see a lot of the action. Well, he saw the action, but didn't see a lot of the leather. Carlisle called to play on. Took a sideways step. That's all you have to do nowadays. Tredrea. Hudson. Tredrea. Hudson. Left it. Burse. Maguire. Westhoff almost stole it. Fisher knocked it away. Montagna through hands. Maguire outside of the foot. Manufactured a sideways pass. Lenny Hayes gathered, gave it back to Maguire. Sean Burgoyne bumps him away from it. Chad Corns dragged down again. Montagna. Hayes had a target inboard but missed it. Roden cut it off. Salopek short. Boak. Peter Burgoyne. Ebert forced to stop and wait. Good fist from Goddard. Rex. Graham. Goddard, he's away. A couple of targets. Burst, the one he was after. He missed him. Knocked away from him. Surgeon. And now Peter Burgoyne's kick is a wobbler, so the umpire will bring it back. It was no advantage.
Early nerves by both sides.
It just feels them feeling the pressure, aren't they?
Well, just kicking to a contest has been a low percentage by both sides. Instead of putting it, I guess, to a 70-30 advantage to the forward, they're up and under and inviting the backman to come through and just crash the ball.
Not sure either team has played in these kind of freezing, windy, wet conditions for quite a while either. Westhoff gets down and gathers on the bounce. Tredrea calls for it short. In his direction, got it. Good hands. Too far out to score, knows it. Sends it back towards Ebert. Goal square, Goddard. Allows this out perhaps. Keeps it in. A rolling ball. Lee Fisher dropped it. Ricks got a kick away. A rolling ball to Kasisi. About to send it back inside 50. Low trajectory. Past Boak. Blake. It's a strange old game. Ricks to Baker. And now Hayes. Half back flank. No one to kick to. Gardner. Loops it back again. Montagna wide. Revolt. First touch for him. Burse. Pops up a high bomb in the hope of Milne. Gets there and marks. Maybe just beyond his range outside 50. But no one's in the goal square. Milne gets the call.
He's always going to go this dummy.
He was, and I think he was aware of it. Pettigrew, and he knew. He's been watching the tapes.
Oh, he's done
Milne.
that well.
He has done that well. Got the kick away to the hot spot. Almost, but not quite. Ricks broken with the late spoil. Thurston's, Peter Burgoyne, almost wrapped up. Got a handball out. Kane Corns, Alapate Carlisle, Tredrea infringed. Might feed back onto this to advantage. He asked the umpire, can he have it?
He's going to have to come back. It might be worth going down to Lee Colbert. I think Chad Corns came off, just a dislocated finger, was it, Colby?
It looked like that, Jason, but he's actually gone up the race now and he looks like he's in a fair bit of pain, so let's hope it's not more than a dislocated finger.
Kane Corns tried to pass it to his brother. He kicked it out of bounds on the full.
This is where he gets it. I think always landed flush on the fingers there, I think, and you can see him
He's
there.
trying to put something back in. There she is.
Sometimes if you get a bad dislocation, it just takes quite a bit of work to get it back in, and that looks a painful one.
And it's
Plenty of
cold,
those.
and it's cold down there. It's nice up here, Jason.
Hodgson. At half back for the Saints. Goddard. Played 10 minutes without a goal so far. Centering ball. Almost is a free kick. Dalsana didn't have it.
Gee, I tell you what, there's been some interesting decision-making early in this game. Jagger, you mentioned kicking the contest. That kick there from half-back in the middle of the ground to a 50-50. You get a quick turnover and you're going to get punished. They just need to settle down a little bit and play some percentages early.
Dalsana short.
That went 4 metres.
Lenny Hayes back to Dalsana, but it was paid 15, strangely. Dalsana sends it wide and he turns it over. Stephen Salopek gets there, takes the mark. Called to play on.
They have been very good, St Kilda, early at holding Port up, making them chip it laterally and getting the numbers behind the ball.
West off. Well, we know the Saints do occasionally try and play for a 0-0 draw. And that's where we're headed at the moment. Logan started on the bench for Port Adelaide. Chips back, Kane Corns.
St Kilda will be happy for Port to do this all day.
Pettigrew.
Because eventually you'll find a kick that's turned over or goes to a 50-50 and then they'll pounce on it. But they've had 4 or 5 possessions here and they're still in the same spot.
Well, Pettigrew's virtually the man they go to because he's the most accurate kick in their back line. He thumps it long. Tredray gets a fly at it and Hudson's hurt himself again. But he's up and okay, Max. This is about the only ground in the AFL he hasn't been knocked out on.
Well, they'd love to keep him injury-free, Max Hudson, because he is such a quality defender, but he's landed flush on the back.
He is a kamikaze pilot from the ball in. Hayes can't break free. Boak dives in. And the umpire gives them plenty of time. And he'll ball it up. I met once last year only, these two teams. It was here at Amy Stadium in round 5. Port Adelaide winning that one by 53 points. Kicked 14 goals to the Saints 6 that night. This looks like being a low-scoring game as well. Montagna thumps it long, hoping for Kazitsky. Almost well played by Salopek. Made the commitment. Peter Burgoyne rolls it towards the wing. Baker, Surgeon. He keeps it alive. Turns it over though. Dempster, Montagna. Hayes. Back to Montagna. Maguire. Bangs it long and high. Port Adelaide with players back though. And Salopek's called into it. Short pass to Logan. They come to the open side. Brendan Lade's calling for it, screaming for it. And now he gets it.
Right on down here.
Daniel Pearce. And he can't get there.
See, that's a disappointing kick from Brendan Lade. He was 15 metres clear under no pressure. Pearce, all he had to do was chip it up in the air.
And Port Adelaide, for the first time in this game, just looked a little bit clean in their foot skills and moving forward. That was poor execution by Brendan Lade.
Lade almost threw that down. Kasisi tries to get a kick away. Well, it doesn't come out. Pearce was calling for it. Good to see him back. Daniel Pearce in the Port Adelaide team tonight. Nathan Cracker out. Daniel Pearce dropped last week for the first time in his career. He's worked his way back for tonight's game. Daniel Pearce still in there, the ball, and not coming out in a hurry. We might get a goalless quarter the way we're headed.
Plenty of rotations happening. Hayes and Montagna off for St Kilda. We've had Robert Harvey come on. Shane Burst has come onto the ground, and as we speak, it's Xavier Clark coming on as well.
Lade down to Kane Corns, shoots it out to Salopek. He bombs it along, goal square. Down there, Brogan flies, can't get a hand on it, and Port Adelaide get their first score of the night.
Well, it was an actual crucial interchange that you mentioned, Jason, because it freed Salopek at the back of that contest, which enabled him to have that forward entry.
The man that came off was David Armitage, and he has been on the phone for a good 30 seconds since coming off.
Graham, who turns 24 years of age tomorrow. Kick towards the wing. Boak. Kane Corns. Xavier Clark tried to shut him down. Kick wide. Carlisle up to half forward, the defender. Uses the don't argue brilliantly. Slips the kick in the Ebert direction. Back of the pack, West off. Dempster with him, and the boundary umpire will have to earn his pay.
It's a good result for Port now. They've got a chance to get their structures right, and I guess on an evening like tonight, it's going to be slippery. You've got to take your chances, and if an opportunity presents, they've got players of the calibre of Ebert and Roden. They can pinch a goal up from a stoppage here.
Lade and Brogan down there for the ball in. Burgoyne, Pearce, just pushed on the kick. Dempster tries to hack it out of the area, and that was paid 15. Stephen Milne all the way back to the back pocket. Saints have two players ahead of the centre at the moment. Ball wide to Robert Harvey, whose form against Port Adelaide is normally spectacular. He's played in a lot of losses, but he's been gathering 30-odd possessions per game in those losses. Port Adelaide having won 10 of the last 11 games against the Saints. Logan couldn't trap it and was held. Shoots the handball off. Pearce takes some time and fooled himself. Not Gardner, who dives back in, wraps him up. It was dragged in, gone.
Geez, a man out of form, Daniel Pearce, isn't he? We saw him so impressive last year, but this year he has really struggled. He's been drop played in the sand for last week and just out of touch.
Bullet pass to Kozetzky. Plays on quickly, heads wide, revolt, position A, can't take the mark but falls. All he needs to do is pick this up. He does, shoots it back, bursts, shot at goal across the face. Only a behind.
Jason, I'm a bit critical of Nick Riewold's lead then. I know he's got a defender, but he led away from the goal mouth and he was the only bloke inside the forward 50. I felt that he should have probably just stayed in the goal square because he was back leading. He had his opponent goal side of him. So just when you go wide like that, it makes it impossible for you to mark.
True, and it might have been a better option for Kozetzky to actually go for goal rather than go for the pass.
Chaplin in the Treadray direction. Hudgston's with him. Oh, Treadray does well. It's Hudgston out the way, so Surgeon can pick up his kick, a shocker. And these conditions are tough, but that's no excuse.
When it's conditions like this, Dwayne, they're opting, I've seen both sides go that short kick to, I guess, maintain the possession game. But I still would like to see, I know sometimes you can cough it up, but go to the top of the square and put the defenders under maximum pressure, because Port Adelaide have got the mids and the smalls that can create havoc, like Motlop and Roden.
Ball, a quick kick away. Cece did pretty well. And Surgeon and Salopek all there helping him out. Salopek with the handball, misses. Ball. Just gets the handball away in time. Gardner, Clark, good movement this. Milne, low trajectory drop punt. Revolt gathers on the bounce, wheels around, kicks it back again, and almost a turnover. Thump away, but straight to Gardner. Saints still in possession. He tries to manufacture something clever. Pettigrew, stolen back by Milne. Can't get the handball out. Logan steals it back. Hands it out nicely. Carlisle misses Thompson with the handball. Forced to go back, get it. Kasisi, open forward line for Port Adelaide now. Long kick. Modlop gets there and doesn't take the mark. Goddard, back pocket. We've played 19 goalless minutes in this opening term, and the Saints have it at fullback. Goddard and Hudson is having a mess around. Maguire. Sam Fisher takes on West off. It's the handball just in time. Hayes. Gardner. Short, Treadray. Plays on quickly. Modlop's peeling back to the square in his direction. Goddard, Modlop was all over that. And 50.
Well, it is the hardest thing to do as a defender, is when your opponent, the forward, is running back to the goal square. You can't watch the ball. You've got to check from the ball to where your opponent is. You're constantly going backwards and forwards, and in the end, he was nowhere near Motlop, who will kick an easy goal.
Goddard trying to make it difficult, but he actually made it easier by being silly about it. Port, the first goal. We've got one.
Well, Jason, we mentioned before some of the decision-making, and again, St. Kilda have elected to go through the middle, switch of play, but Warren Treadray, great smart football, took the mark, and he had the awareness knowing that he had young Daniel Motlop one-on-one in the goal square. Quick kick to his advantage. Good goal.
One of the few times they've actually moved the ball quickly and just played on straight away. Treadray just arcing onto the left foot and letting it fly.
First goal of the night to Daniel Motlop. Still has that skeleton in his closet for that goal that he missed.
Dwayne, it was a long time
the
ago.
siren against the Saints down in Launceston. But they're hard to miss from the goal line. From the ball up. No one really going anywhere. We'll get another ball up. Adelaide and Ricks side by side. First game of 2008 for Michael Ricks. Harvey's handball towards Maguire. Scoop back. Mops up his own mess. Kick not so good. It's a wobbler wide. Thurston's with Kazitsky, and we'll get a ball in. Into time on now. Opening term.
Have you seen that matchup so far with Thurston's, Jason? Because you had some concern before the game whether he could go with Big Cozzy.
Yeah, look, in the strength battles, I think Kazitsky going to be favoured. On those long leads, I think Thurston's has got the leg speed. I'd rather see Kazitsky playing closer to goal, but he's actually playing out at centre-half forward at the moment. You've got Revold operating out of the square.
Umpire barking instructions as Ricks goes at it with Lade. Kasisi. Handball back to Salopek, who's dragged down. So 2 50-metre penalties and 2 free kicks downfield so far tonight from the Saints. Maguire thumps it back, but to the hot spot. Danger zone here. Ebert lurking. Treadray trying to snare it. Dives in. Locks it in. Fire will sort it out.
Shane Burst playing at half forward for St Kilda. I think he's got the job of just stopping the run of Peter Burgoyne from half back. Obviously a key player that sets up a lot of attacks from defence for Port Adelaide.
Lade, use of the hands, knocks it down. Motlop a toe poke. Burgoyne to Boak. Thompson tried to thread the handball through. Surgeon dives in. Locked up by Hayes. And we'll get another ball up. 22 minutes gone now. 1 goal in 22 minutes of football. From the ball up to Ruckman after being told not to hold, both hold. Motlop ties it up. Logan sees it shoot out. Sean Burgoyne tries to thread a handball out, unsuccessful. Blake and Logan and Motlop all in there. Umpire Chris Donlan to ball it up. Del Santo and Kane Corn side by side. Lade. Sean Burgoyne again. Inside 50. Ebert peeling back with Goddard. Good grab. Perfect use of the body. No one to go to free. Hacks it long. Hoping for Ricks. Under it. Pierce.
Did that well.
Magnificent commitment. That will please his coach. Short. And was that 15?
Well, that's
marked
that's the question.
In the context of the night, it was 15, Wayne, because they've paid about 5 of those already tonight.
Good to see Pierce. He was under the ball there, had to wear it, took the mark. A big body coming behind him, but I guess that's one way to please your coach. If you're out of form, out of sorts, to get back in favour with him and hold your spot on the side is ultimate commitment.
Favourable decision for Warren Treadray. His brother is in the umpiring business in the Sandful. And he kicks his first of the night.
Well, it is a very low-scoring game, but they've got a couple of important goals. Port Adelaide making the most of a couple of odd opportunities. Pearce just followed the footy. He was the one that tracked it, and Ricks couldn't get there in time to create the spoil. Treadray had been sitting in a hole for a long time, and one part of Warren Treadray's game that often comes under criticism is his kicking for goal. No problems on that occasion from just inside the 50-metre arc.
And that'd be good for his confidence too, the big skipper.
9 goals, 8 now for Warren Treadray for the year, his first of the night. Lee Colbert on the boundary.
Worrying concerns for Port Adelaide, though, boys, is that Chad Corns is still up the race, so mightn't be such a good thing with the dislocated finger.
Ugly bounce, not recalled, down to ball. And Roden shoots the handball out to Pearce. Getting an involvement now. Handball stolen by Baker. Hayes threw it out wide. Crowd wanted to throw, didn't get it. Cassisi's kick smothered. Montagna thumps it in the air. Ebert ridden into the ground.
Just good hustling from both sides there, and it's just a 50-50 that you have to win, and Brett Ebert did that very well.
Thompson to Salopek, who heads wide towards Ebert. Pocket pushed out, will get a ball in. And Brett Ebert, the #1 goal scorer from last year. It was Thompson that was driven into the ground and received the free, but he didn't have any confidence to go for it from 55. And that's a throw against Thompson. Adam Thompson took Daniel Pearce's spot in the team last week. The two Sturt boys swapped. One went back to the SANFL, but he's been able to retain his place, Adam Thompson. And there's Chad Corns strapping on the finger. He looks like he'll be okay. Kick towards the wing. Xavier Clark to his opposite three. Salopek to Thompson. Getting plenty of it now. Pearce, open forward line for Port Adelaide. Tries to thread the eye of the needle to Motlop. And he can't keep it alive. Ball off.
Unfortunately,
foot of Lenny Hayes.
Daniel Pearce just picked the wrong option then. He had a couple of short ones in space, but he went to Motlop, who had Goddard all over him, and it was never going to be an option. Chad Corns just seeing if he can handle the footy okay. He has got it heavily strapped. It was obviously dislocated and took a while to get back in.
No prior opportunity, and we'll get another ball up. 26 minutes gone. Opening term. Inside 2 minutes to quarter time. Neither ruckman get at it. Maguire throws it out, but to Roden. Likes to twist his way through traffic. Does so here. Brilliantly. Unbelievable at times. To Kasisi. Bounces it towards goal, and it's a behind.
And warning signs for St Kilda. Dominic Kasisi, as he did last week, just setting up play. Well, he's had 10 disposals.
I've got an interesting one for you, though, Jacko, because he's playing on Lenny Hayes. Hayes has had 11, Kasisi's had 10. They're the two players in double figures.
Krasitsky, off back flank. Dangerous, but okay. Goddard. All the way back to Maguire. Saints 60 seconds away from having a goalless opening term.
But they're not out of it, Dwayne.
No, that's true. They're not necessarily in it, but not necessarily out of it right now. Harvey. There's Chad Corns back to the bench. Robert Harvey, not a lot to go to, and takes on Ebert. All the way back to Goddard. 45 seconds and counting. To the open side, Maguire.
You could have played on there, Matt Maguire, but he didn't want to run because he looked up and thought, gee, I haven't really got much to kick to. So he's happy to slow it down. And I think they'll be happy to get to quarter time and maybe reset their structures, the Saints.
Well, Mark Williams did say in the newspaper, the local paper today, that they'll be playing against the Sydney Swans, virtually the old Sydney Swan style tonight. And I think he's picked it. There's been a lot of accusations and pointing a finger as to who plays this kind of shut-down ugly footy. But the Saints are the villains again tonight. Kasisi threads his way through traffic. One last chance for a score. Boat towards goal. And that'll make them pay on the siren. Do it at your peril.
Well, you said it, Dwayne. Do it at your peril. I mean, this type of football is non-productive, and invariably, when you're trying to run down the clock, the runner would have come out and said there's a minute to go. It's just a state of mind. You just relax, and you sooner or later you're going to turn the ball over. The pleasing thing that I liked about Port Adelaide, they went and manned up their direct opponent, which forced St Kilda to kick to a contest. They kicked to a contest with the slippery conditions, turned the ball over, and that's what you get at quarter time. St Kilda would not be happy considering they've won 4 of their last 5 first quarters.
Matthew Primus, Peter Rode, Jason Cripps there as well with Mark Williams, of course, a former assistant coach with the Saints, Jason Cripps. It is quarter time here at Amy Stadium, and Port Adelaide have been able to manufacture the own up there with the finger strapped after dislocating it in the opening term, and Jason Blake's been doing that to him most of the night.
And he's been doing it back. Chad Corns cost him a free kick early in the game.
Brendan Lade, big thump from the opening bounce. Treadray, Sean Burgoyne,
kick it.
A piece of brilliance to lighten up the night.
That was just a brilliant little passage of football. Now, it was an absolute sack, the kick that went through at the end, but it deserved a goal. Take us through it as you saw
this is why you come to the footy. As we see at the bottom of the screen, you see Sean Burgoyne really run at the contest, got the tap out, but he still stayed involved. And I think the centre forward who flicked the ball up was aware that he was still running at full pace. That's why he's one of the best players in the competition running forward like that. And
look at that sack.
That's what you come to the footy for. It's a goal, it counts.
Port Adelaide's leading goal scorer this season, Sean Burgoyne, with his 14th of the year, first of the night.
Got to see Lee Fisher now lining up on the defensive side of Sean Burgoyne as this centre bounce down goes.
The runner went straight out to tell him that. But I was impressed with the lightning quick hands of Warren Treadray. I mean, if you blinked, you missed it.
Well, that's the role that he's playing more of now, the general, where he's setting up play. He'll kick one or two himself, but he's been involved in 2 assists tonight.
Kane Corns to Sean Burgoyne to Adam Thompson. Short towards Treadray. Montagna. Harvey. Gardner. Montagna. Back to the midfield again. Hayes.
Nothing
and now
forward.
Dempster. Long bomb. Pettigrew gets back and gobbles it up.
Yeah, just can't bomb away like that because Port Adelaide will mount their attack, and they're just starting to get comfortable in this game now because of that overuse of the football and then the turnover.
Oh, look at Roden.
Peter Burgoyne, Thompson, Logan, and magnificent kick by Logan. Roden was quick, pounced on it, into space, takes them on. Might send this inside 50 with a long high kick. It doesn't. To Westhoff, who tries to short pass. Treadray's on the move over his head. Mark taken again by Sean Dempster. Goddard left it behind. Danger again. Treadray gets out of a tackle. Too high. And Kazitsky lucky to get away with that little handle.
Just a fumble there from Goddard, and all of a sudden they're under pressure again. They didn't pay that first high one. It was the second one when the hand came over the top.
Treadray too. Here he is. Chad Corns back on.
And that's
hand
important.
Okay there.
He marked it in his hands. Now, if it was really troubling him, he probably would have gone for it in the chest. So it was a little bit tentative. He didn't really stretch them out there, but he did take it in the hands. That's a good sign.
And it's good coaching by Choco Williams. Put him in the goal square at full forward, run out and take a couple of catches and kick a few goals.
Yeah, good plan until you have it punched from behind.
That's what he has in front of him, Chad Corns. He wobbles it back and into the post.
That was another sack off the
Only a behind.
It is breezy out there. I mean, it's good that the rain stayed away. They're not bad conditions, but it's very cool and reasonably breezy out there.
Wind seems to be heading across the ground. We'll check with Lee Colbert to confirm that shortly. If anything, it's blowing a slight bit to the end. St Kilda is kicking to in this second term. Baker. Harvey. Again, indecisive and tries to manufacture something spectacular and doesn't. Good commitment from Logan. And we'll get another ball up.
Well, he was indecisive, Dwayne, but at least Robert Harvey played on and tried to invent something rather than stopping and chipping the ball sideways. They've got to get the ball going forward, St Kilda, so they can actually give Revolt and Kazitsky and Milne and these sort of players a chance.
Laid down towards Pearce, who knocks it to Thompson, who gets through traffic. Travis Boak. Wobbler wide. Surgeon takes on Baker. Hands back to Kasisi. Pearce. Dom Kasisi touches it on the deck. Saints flood back. Doesn't want to just hand the ball over to a loose St Kilda man, so hands it to Logan, who shorts to Treadray, who marks on 50. Breeze is blowing straight into his face, though. This will be a very tough kick.
Jason, he's getting better as the weeks go on, Treadray. He's just starting to find that space and he's starting to get a little bit more pace in his leads.
Yeah, the important thing he's doing at the moment is he's timing his leads as he tries to find Lade.
And
that's a
good
kick.
hands.
Now, tell you why that's a great kick, because he knew he was going to be under pressure, but he had small players like Stephen Milne around him, so if the kick was up in the air, he was able to mark it over the top. But just talking about Treadray, he's timing his leads well. They're not long leads, because if he goes on a long lead, Mass Hudgen will blow right by him. They're short, sharp, 15-metre leads, but that's terrific. He's surrounded by Luke Ball, Steve Milne, and Lenny Hayes. Up in the air, Brendan Lade will mark that every time.
Normally an accurate kick, but been a little inaccurate this year, Brendan Lade. 3 goals, 5. What a superstar he's been. 201 games on the banner tonight. Played his 200th game away at Subiaco last week. Not bad off the boot. Oh, he saluted early. And the Saints still yet to get one.
Well, they're just getting their structures right now, Port Adelaide. They're just settling into the game more and more. And as you mentioned, Warren Treadray, he's timing those leads, but the space left open for him is good disciplined football by the rest of the Port Adelaide players to allow their big players to get into the game and create. And that's what Warren Treadray is enjoying at the minute and bringing other players into it. So worrying signs for St Kilda because it's 5 minutes gone in this quarter, and they still haven't scored a goal.
Missed just one game in the past 4 seasons since breaking his leg the second time, Brendan Lade. Been outstanding.
Haven't gone inside 50 yet in this quarter, St Kilda, and Del Santo just came back on the ground, and so did the man playing on him, Kane Corns, who's kept him to just 3 possessions thus far.
Dempster got it forward ball. Did you count that as an inside 50?
I was
Hit the
just
line.
about to say, can we count that one, Dwayne?
It just touched the paint. This time, maybe. I'll get it in there, Luke. And he does. Revolt, Chaplin, good fist from Chaplin, thumps it out of play. Revolt not happy, or he is happy. He gives the clap of approval.
Just have a look at this as he comes in. Just balances on top of the head. Oh.
Lade, slap forward. Cassisi takes possession. And now Peter Burgoyne, who's been tagged as a halfback flanker and still getting plenty of it. Sends it to his brother Sean's advantage. It's all about how it bounces for him. Pick up clean. Looks back, fools everybody, and then takes off. Spears to Motlop. Toe poke from Motlop.
That's a good touch.
Unbelievable. He had
Great
2 to
result.
beat. And he knew if he picked it up and went out, he would have got deliberate. So he let it bounce off his toe.
And if he fell over, he would have been out of the contest. It was 2 against 1.
Oh, Eric Cantona would be happy about that.
But
Cantona.
at least he didn't jump into the crowd when someone abused him. Thompson to Roden. Keeps it to his advantage. Sidesteps through traffic. Stylish. And now to Ebert. Perfect pass.
That was
What
crack
about
as well.
that?
He is enjoying himself, David Roden, and he's got licence to take players on. He has a beautiful step, a fantastic body swerve. He had a left-handed bounce after he stepped inside, and then a left-footed kick. It didn't spin well, but it found the intended target. He handballed it to himself. Then have a look at this. Took one on. That wasn't enough. Then he'll take another little left-handed bounce, and it's a bit of a tumble punt, but make no mistake, that's where it was meant to go.
But the advantage was it was in front of Ebert that he could lead on to.
From directly out, the breeze
He's
in
had the
his
yips.
face as well. It drifts, and he has had the yips after an outstanding year last year with 56 goals, 28 to win Port Adelaide's goal kicking. He's only kicked 8 goals, 5 so far this year.
Why has it been such a tough year for him, Jacko?
Well,
He seems to struggle to get anywhere near as much possession.
Choco Williams did mention that he didn't have the pre-season that he would have liked to, so he's playing a bit of catch-up footy, and with that your confidence goes down. But he showed signs last week at Subiaco Oval as the game wore on that he was getting better and better, and finished up with a couple of goals, so he's just got to keep working at it.
Gardner got it from Goddard. It's the call to play on. Thumps it long, hoping for Revolt. Ball to the back. Luke Ball in position A here. He can have the shot from 50. Centering kick instead. Not bad off the boot. Milne there, but Pettigrew's fist superb. Knocked it down. They spill. Blake, he kicks around the body. Port with numbers back. Thumped across the line. Out of play.
Just haven't got any confidence, St Kilda, when they go into the forward 50. Just got to keep working at it. Try and generate some enthusiasm in there.
Lade forward. Peter Burgoyne. Good tackle. Revolt shoots it up to Burse. Ball still alive. Harvey tries to thread it out. Hayes dives in. And they keep it in with Lenny Hayes. The Port defenders will get another ball up. Getting plenty of it, Lenny. But not able to do anything decisive with it necessarily. Lade might thump this through, and that was a dangerous push towards the line, but behind was what he was after, and that's what he gets.
They so desperately need to break the seal, St Kilda. They need to kick a goal just for their own confidence. I mean, if you go a half of football without kicking a goal, you start thinking, what the hell's going on here? They've got to get something going.
Surgeon wide. Boak leads in the race for it, but knew it was going to bounce out and let it do that without expending too much energy. 34 plays 3. Port Adelaide by 31 points.
Go the footy. Don't block.
10 minutes gone. Second term. Baker kicks it out of the air. Bouncing ball. Xavier Clark. His kick a little wide for Revolt. Tough one. Tucked into the pocket. Takes on Chaplin. He might kick one. Finally, the Saints are on the board.
Well, it was great play by Xavier Clark, and the difference was what he did for the first time for St Kilda was hit it with pace. As he hit it with pace, looked inside, and obviously it was a A grubby kick, but Nick Riewoldt had the presence in mind to take his direct opponent on and kick a much-needed goal for their side, a captain's goal. And this is what they've got to do now, is get back-to-back goals, Jason, and just get a bit of momentum, break the shackles of Port Adelaide.
Absolutely. Yeah, they got it by default, didn't they, though?
First goal of the night for the Saints. First goal of the night for Nick. Had an up-and-down week last week, 3 goals, 2, and a couple of complete misses last week, Nick Riewoldt, and another bad bounce. Brogan tries to make it okay. Kazitsky, Harvey, Hayes.
Good switch. Milne's on if he can get it to him.
Blake.
Got to hit it with pace.
And he shoots it in Milne's direction. Harvey's there as well. Good block. Brogan with the don't argue. Handball a little slick for Boak. Left it behind. Kane Corns. High ball Westhoff. Bumped under it by Maguire. That's the tunnelling free that's been talked about over the last month, where you bump a guy just as he's about to leap. Justin Westhoff at half-back with the free. Chad Corns. Couldn't collect it and out of play. Chad Corns up against Sam Fisher, a former South Australian back home. Sam Fisher from the Riverland. Back into play. Or slap backwards. Both tried to kick it off the deck, missed it completely. Kasisi. Gang tackled and pushed. From the congestion. Dominic Kasisi looks up and he's got Kane Corns, who has Thurstons and Pettigrew peeling off wide. Pettigrew, the man he opted for. And now Ebert on the move. Again, it's put on top of his head, and Goddard has the advantage and thumps it out of play.
Yeah, if you're going to miss Brett Ebert with the pass, it's got to be out in front of him. It's no good if he has to stop and prop, because he's not very tall in stature, and Goddard will come over and spoil every time.
Brogan doing the ruck work, pushed out of it by Ricks. And
a decent push too.
Obvious.
No subtlety at all.
Yeah. First game for the year for Michael Ricks, with Stephen King out and maybe a little rusty. Brogan hands off to Salopek, kicks to Chad Corns in the pocket. Had a piece of it, and a little push in the back for Thompson, not paid. Xavier Clark, Fisher, Chad Corns in there, Baker steals it, Montagna, Graham, Montagna, Salopek, can't take the mark, good spoil by Milne. Ricks got it, lost it, Blake thumps it out, or attempts to. And it's dragged down by Kane Corns, who, with Lee Fisher, simply stopped and said to the umpire, can you do something about this?
Well done, Stephen Salopek. That's the second time he's backed into a pack tonight and held his ground. Good work.
Well, Brogan appeared to be dragged down. Good hip and shoulder between Montagna and Sean Burgoyne. Brogan to Pearce. He's slung. Somehow gets it out. Kane Corns. A massive Saints players ahead of Port Adelaide, so they have to go back. Fist from Milne, illegal. Chaplin, he kicks it in Ebert's direction. This time it's in front of him, but the bounce made it high. Thumped out by Goddard. Race on. Ebert gets there first. Got to push into it by Goddard.
And that's the good thing about Brett Ebert's game that he's developed the last couple of weeks. If he's not going to get the nice, clean kick out in front where he can take a mark, look at his second effort to chase up and won himself a free kick. That's how you get yourself back into form. That's good work by Ebert.
To Chad Corns, although not to his advantage. Yes, it is. Reached over and plucked it.
Well, you're called not to his advantage. That's the way it looked off the boot, wasn't it? Because you can kick to a contest and you always try to kick it to the side of that contest that favours your teammate. On that occasion, the kick didn't really do it, but he was strong enough just to push Sam Fisher a little bit under the ball and then clean hands again with that sore finger.
So he's missed one to either side now, Chad Corns. Behind.
Jason, you mentioned it before. It's an alarming statistic, but 21-9 inside 50s.
He just works him under. And I tell you what would also make kicking difficult is it's the right hand, the hand that guides the football down onto the boot. He doesn't have use of the fingers. He's got a couple of them taped together, so he really doesn't have the feel that he normally would have kicking. So I think we need to cut him a little bit of slack, because he has missed a couple of set shots, but it would be difficult when you can't use your normal guiding system of the ball from hand to boot.
That coming from one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, Jason Dunstall.
Well, we can kick floaters at the best of times, Dwayne. That's with perfect hands.
No, that's why I believe you.
Let alone having a couple that are done up together.
People probably don't think the guide of the ball is all that important, but it's one of the vital things you have to do. Goddard, back pocket, just waxing possessions. 35 plays 9, 16 minutes gone, second term.
And this suits Port Adelaide because the pressure builds on St Kilda when they can't move the football.
And now the thump long. Salopek with Blake. Good second grab.
They've got numbers. He's got to go quick.
He's got Harvey.
That's the kick.
And Harvey about to rise at this ball to his own advantage. Graham peels off for him. It's all about this kick now. Low trajectory, and Kazitsky made it look perfect.
Well, it's one of those nights. If your forward plays in front, Jason, as you know, the mindset of getting in front, and that's what they've done the last couple of times. So here's another opportunity for St Kilda.
They got the first goal by Chaplin slipping over, allowing Revolt to pick it up and run into an open goal. And this is just complete miss kick, a tumble punt. But as you say, you've got to play in front as a forward, and Kazitsky did that. He just needs to go back and make sure he slots it through.
He's kicked 10 goals, 7 this year. A full goal mouth to aim at, and he slides it through. They're on the way back.
And make no mistake, St Kilda won't mind if they win 9 goals to 8 tonight. It's not about playing pretty football, it is about playing effective football. And whilst it's been a very disappointing first quarter from them, they'll feel now that they've clawed their way back into the contest. It's 2 goals apiece this quarter. They can try and build on some momentum. At least they've broken the shackles. They've been able to score a couple of goals, and that'll give them a little bit of confidence now for the rest of the match.
Justin Kazitsky having a rest. Cozzy, perhaps the big loser in Grant Thomas's captaincy rotation system. Grant Thomas did say when he was in the job that it would be Cozzy's job next year more than likely. And then Grant Thomas was sacked. From the ball up. No one going anywhere. We'll get a ball up. 35 plays 15. Sean Burgoyne being tagged by Sean Dempster.
Yeah, he started with Lee Fisher. He's now got Dempster. Lee Fisher's gone on to Roden, so finally Roden's starting to get some serious attention.
Surgeon got it from Sean Burgoyne. A wobbler, Chad Corns, front spot. Well played by Fisher. The ball dragged down between them. And the umpire will sort it out with the ball up.
Gee, it's amazing the number of tumble punts we've seen tonight. Yeah. That breeze is obviously troubling a lot of the players, but also I think the inferred pressure that they're feeling, just throwing it on the boot and kicking some wobblers.
Chad Corns again with his good hand down to Boak, who kicks around the body towards goal! And one of the goals of the night for Travis Boak.
Now, I'm not sure, Jacko, but that looked like an instep torp to me. And I mean completely by mistake, an instep torpedo.
We're getting a mixed bag of tonight, but and a couple going through the goals. But as we see here, the contest, just a little bit disappointing for St Kilda at this stoppage that Port Adelaide were able to get numbers free. Chad Corns, the third man up, Boak running forward, that space open.
Oh, look at the torp.
It was a good inside torp. So.
Stepped up into a new class last week, Travis Boak. Really did star in that win over the West Coast, and he has his second goal of the night.
And it's just a modern day trend when you kick a goal, isn't it? You must come and sit down on the bench.
From the ball up, Ricks jumps early, Lade stays down, gets the kick, touch play on. Two Saints players spoil each other. Hayes shoots it out to Armitage, and now Dempster. Low trajectory drop punt again. Revolt's down there. Chaplin with the fist. Dumps it down. Thurstons through traffic. Back to Chaplin. Peter Burgoyne. Well, I know people hate the word, but he is the quarterback. They go to him from defence, and away they go. Kane Corns over the top. Logan. With that 4-day growth again. Shaves every Tuesday night by the looks of things. Back to Peter Burgoyne. And the quarterback starts it all again. It's time to Surgeon, who was tripped. Lucky to get away with it.
Dangerous hand pass from Peter Burgoyne. Really put his teammate Surgeon under pressure.
Surgeon to Chaplin. No one comes at him. Blake corrals him, and he sends it along the Treadray with some space. Again, that breeze blowing straight into his face.
There goes another one of those leads you mentioned, Jason. It's just short with pace in the right space.
West off. One grab, not the second. Ebert about to pounce. Pearce there as well. Can't keep it alive. Ball in.
Interesting, though, that Max Hutchinson's gone to the goal square to play on Motlop, and they've got Matty Maguire playing on Warren Treadray. I think that'll suit Treadray as well. He'll feel a little bit more comfortable on the lead now.
Lade and Ricks. Lade with the palm down, but to Harvey, who read it well. Ball. Little push in the back. He's still got it. Shoots it out nicely. Maguire to Hayes. The Saints are away. Revolt's got 2 to beat. Can't beat them both. And the big fist from Stephen Salopek thumps it out.
And always pleasing to have that as a defender. When you've got support like that, when you're playing on such a champion player, Nick Riewoldt, to have the aid and support of your teammate to come over, you see Chaplin clapping his teammate there in Salopek. That's great play.
And here he is again, Stephen Salopek, who did admit he models his game on Robert Harvey's game. He's a massive Robert Harvey fan as a kid, Stephen Salopek. And he's up against him here side by side, and that does inspire players sometimes when you're playing against the player you grew up in awe of. And he breaks free the champ. Armitage sends it long. Del Santo getting back, but Pettigrew read it perfectly.
See, I'm not sure why Armitage didn't just chip it over the top to Jason Blake. He was in space about 45 out in the corridor. It was just an oversight.
West off wide, Thurston's. Not sure what happened there, but he almost ducked out of it. It is slippery out there. I mentioned the rain. It rained for most of the day, even though it's not raining now. Yeah, lost his footing.
Don't pull jumpers.
Bit of ballet from the 2. Lade, beaten for it this time by Ricks. Down to Armitage. Got one high. Gets the free.
Daniel, back a metre. Daniel.
5 minutes from half-time. Yeah, any higher and you would have missed him completely. Armitage short, and it's okay. Hayes.
Oh, no, it's okay.
And Lenny held up. Back to Armitage. Port Adelaide flooding back now.
Stay out. Right there. Stay. Sean.
Started on the bench tonight, David Armitage. And he backtracks for the short pass to Montagna. Maybe a turnover. Port Adelaide alive again here. Cassisi couldn't get it out to a teammate. Salopek, Cassisi, boundary line. Gets the push.
Just a wasted opportunity by Armitage. He had to go long. He got called play on, and he just looked very tired to actually take his kick, and that's a worrying sign.
Dominic Cassisi. All the way back pocket. Thompson. Back to fullback. Pettigrew. To the open side. Chaplin calls for it. He takes them on. Danger. Got the handball up. Carlisle shoots it out. Milne. He wants to start something but falls. Pettigrew. Thurston's. Carlisle. They can reload. Kane Corns. Chips it in the boat direction. Fishes with him. And the boundary line beats them both. But a ball in. Jacob Surgeon having a rest on the bench. 3 minutes 40 to half-time. Baker. Blake. Inside 50 again. 2 players for Carlisle to beat. One of them Gardner. Got the fist down, and Gardner with a ride in the back. No free. Pettigrew ties it up. Ball up, but the danger spot for the Saints here. An opportunity for a score. 6-5. Plays 2-3. Brogan. Front spot. Down towards Sean Burgoyne. Toe pokes it away. Gardner. Over it. Caught. Hayes. Shoots it out. Montagna. Stolen by Chaplin. He gives it up the ball. Caught by Sean Burgoyne. Now Burse. He threw it out. Hayes a chance. In the pocket. He left it. Del Santo backtracks. Kicks to the hot spot. Brogan gets there with the spoil. Blake comes the other way. Still a chance here for Blake. Shoots it out. Ball. Kaczynski. Gardner. Back into trouble. He dishes it up. Crowd want ball, don't get it. Hayes towards Clark. He gets one high. And Xavier Clark will take the free from 50.
Well, there's no doubting here St.Kilda have earned this free kick. There was just a number of 50-50 contests.
Gee, there wasn't a lot in it.
There wasn't a lot in it, but he had his head over the ball, and I guess when you give yourself that chance,
50-metre penalty here.
Up to you.
There is a 50-metre penalty here, makes it a certain goal.
By Schmidt.
Might have been a bit of back chat there.
I think someone ran through the mark, he's saying. Might have been telling.
So Xavier Clark might be Saviour Clark. He gives them the goal they were after.
Shane, are you guys going to play footy all night or worry about each other?
There's an interesting conversation. Are you guys going to play footy or worry about each other, which is Shane Burse and Peter Burgoyne?
Well, there was a slight hand there, and the umpire was in best position, so he called it. But where did the 50-metre penalty come from? That's the big question. But 20 points, Jason. They're certainly in it.
Absolutely.
Nick
That's
Del
just-
Sando needs to get in it. He's only had the 4 possessions.
Yeah, well, he's got Kane Corns and finding it hard to shake him.
Margin cut back to 20 points.
I think the worrying concern, though, Dwayne, for St Kilda is the fashion in which their goals are coming. There's no pattern to them. There's no flow. It's a 50-metre penalty, one off the ground where an opponent slipped over, a floating kick coming forward. They just need to get a little bit of system.
Montagna with the half clearance. Hayes.
There we go.
Burse.
There's his system.
They're alive.
Bit of
Saviour Clark again. Runs to 48 and misses.
But that was much better because they maintained possession of the football. They were clean, and that was illustrated there by their movement. But they had pace through the corridor, and they are one of the better sides kicking for goal via the corridor. So maybe that's something they can concentrate in the second half.
Well, Port Adelaide do like, with 2 minutes to go, to just leak the 2 minutes away without doing anything extravagant. I see they take the game on here. Kasisi to Brogan. See if he puts the ball in the air and gives the signal. 1 minute 50. Call to play on. No one comes at him. He's not obliged to dispose of it. Westhoff. The hands are back. 1 minute 35 and counting. Westhoff holds it up. And they might suck some seconds off. Salopek. All the way across from one flank to the other to Thurstons. Chip kick, Pettigrew. Lee Colbert.
Plenty of niggle in this game, boys. The reserve umpire has been on a couple of times to talk to Ebert and Goddard. Also, it was Peter Burgoyne who ran through the mark, boys, for that 50.
Thanks for that. Chaplin, Kane Corns, Brogan peels in his direction. Good hands. Little nudge from Graham. Inside a minute to half-time. The margin 19 points in Port Adelaide's favour. It was 18 points in Port Adelaide's favour at quarter time. So at the moment they're on track to win the term at least. Kane Corns. And St Kilda not content. They just watch. They could have manned up, but they haven't. They've just flooded back. So Alapate Carlisle will send it to the wide man in Westhoff. Boundary line there if he wants it. Hands it up to Thompson. Maybe a chance for a late score. Motlop lurking. And we know he can manufacture something special. Kicks to Eben in the pocket and he marks it. He would be very, very careful not to play on here if he knew how many seconds were left. 1. And the siren means he must have a shot.
Well, they worked this well, Port Adelaide. They kept possession of the ball for over 2 and a bit minutes. And now they've pushed it forward when they found their break. And here they have a chance to put some scoreboard pressure leading into half-time.
Gittes would lift his confidence. Brett Ebert. And that is the tale of his confidence as it stands right now. It hasn't been the best of seasons.
No, you got him beautifully, Dwayne.
But it's half-time here at Amey Stadium. And St Kilda, after being held goalless. But the fans have come along and their team's in front at the long change. Nick Revolt, just the 1 goal in the opening half for him. Troy Chaplin's done a good job so far tonight. Chad Corns and Max Hodgson trying to work out who should play on who. And the swap has been made. Fisher, who's been on Chad Corns for most of the night. Sam Fisher continues to follow him around and Hodgson stays on Westhoff.
Yeah, all the forwards for Port Adelaide staying pretty deep. They're leaving the centre half forward position open. And the St Kilda runners just come out to tell Lee Fisher to go and stand in that hole. And as he does, that forces Brett Ebert to come up.
We are underway in the second half. Brogan in the ruck against Kazitsky, who hasn't done a lot of ruck work tonight. Brogan tries to slap it out, does so. Thompson, Kane Corns dragged down. Dempster tried to shoot the handball out, but it was smothered. Pearce grabbed by Montagna. Still in there. Dempster got it out to Montagna. Quick kick. And Graham was paid the mark. To Clark. Pops it towards Revolt in position A. And drops it. And didn't get a free for being bumped. Thurstons. Wide. Stephen Salopek. Takes off and Alapate Carlisle peels off for him. Carlisle short to Peter Burgoyne. Their go-to man at half-back to Kane Corns. Peter Burgoyne, Stephen Salopek falls over. Xavier Clark steals it, tried to get it out. Thompson dives in, he's over it. Rake free of him. And the umpire will have to sort this out with the ball up.
Gee, they made a mess of that. Port Adelaide deserved to get punished for that. A couple of hand passes just putting teammates under pressure.
There's the bump to Revolt.
Didn't really have his eyes on the footy, did he, Troy Chaplin?
Xavier Clark, third man up in the ruck, thumps it down. Thurstons tries to thread his way through traffic. And again, it's tied up, this time inside 50 for the Saints. Get a ball up for umpire Matt Stevick.
A positive sign there for St Kilda early was that contested mark that he nearly took was Rewalt, but one-on-one in the goal script. They can do that a lot more in this third quarter. It'll give them some hope to get back into this game.
Luke Ball, no prior opportunity. So another ball up.
At the footy! Don't block!
Some instructions from the umpires. Big crowd around this ball up. Brogan down to Salopek. Pettigrew. Thompson. Peter Burgoyne. Surprise, surprise. They went to him to deliver it. Pearce. Clever half volley. Peter Burgoyne again. This one a wobbler. Chad Corns on the move. Gets away from Hudson. Turns him inside out. Kick not so good. Tough one for Modlop. Turns around on Baker. Takes him on. Stops. Takes him on. Gets away. And how's the free here? Too far.
See, that's interesting. I'd like to track that, wouldn't you? Because he did. He turned, he ran, he stopped, he went again. Did he go too far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I think that's a fair decision because they're all more than a metre, those steps, aren't they? Well, we just got lost in the excitement of watching Motlop taking his opponent, Stephen Baker, on.
He does run like a small dog on lino, though. He takes a lot of steps for little ground at times, Daniel Motlop.
That's a good kick.
Whether they count the steps or cover the ground. Fisher.
Chance to use the corridor here, St Kilda.
Montagna. Robert Harvey. Kick half smothered. Might go back and mop up his own mess. He can't. Surgeon shoots it out. Ebert taps it on. Sean Burgoyne collects. It's all about the delivery. Centering kick. Chad Corns from 4 deep. He stayed down. Gathered by Hudson. Goddard. And they're away here. Milne from half back. Rolls it to the wing. Didn't look up. Puts it in Kane Corns' direction. He gathers. Can go backwards. Sells the dummy. Short kick. Dangerous. Thurston's made it okay.
St Kilda have got to find some way to get Nick Del Santo in the game. He's had 4 possessions. Kane Corns has had 18. I think maybe they need to throw him deep forward. At least, if nothing else, take Kane Corns out of it.
Salopek got it from Chaplin. Sends it towards Tredray. Nice hands. Having a pretty good night at the office, Warren Tredray. Only the 1 goal.
Yeah, but his 6th mark. And he'll be happy that his marking game's coming back.
Chips it to Chad Corns, who might be able to launch this. It's not a monster kick of the ball. He's 52 out.
You've got Brett Ebert 1 out now and Tredray pushing back.
High kick. Tredray's down there. Ebert's down there. Off hands. Tredray tries to kick it off the deck. Behind. Back to the 20-point margin.
Missed it, Windy.
He did. Fisher of the Lee variety. Harvey. Trouble again. Play on advantage. Would have got a free. Lee Fisher. Wobbler. Surgeon. Cuts it off as a good surgeon does.
Yep, they were so good last week at using the corridor, St Kilda, but it's been taken away from them by Port Adelaide tonight.
but they've been more aware of that. And the other thing is players play on to the detriment of their own teammate by playing him onto trouble, and that's what happened to Robert Harvey. So just got to be more mindful, be a little bit more patient.
Peter Burgoyne to Westhoff. Shoots it to Pettigrew. Doesn't often get a shot at goal. Comes down and takes his opportunity.
Well, that's where Port Adelaide have got a couple of their goals from the 7 they've kicked tonight, is the turnover through the corridor, where St Kilda are quite efficient and quite strong through that area, but a couple of turnovers by just overuse and inviting the opposition into the contest. But running forward here, Pettigrew, as you mentioned, doesn't see it, the forward 50 too often, and that was a nice kick off the boot, Jason.
Absolute beauty.
For a back, happy with that.
Only had 2 shots at goal this year, Michael Pettigrew, and has kicked them both. 48 plays 22. Kazitsky runs into Brogan, and how will this one fall? It goes Kazitsky's direction. And Brogan not happy about it. You wouldn't expect him to be. Kazitsky long, revolt, back of the pack, and good hands, read that well.
He just set off he set off the packy here, and he read it better than the players in front of him, and was just able to get free. He was at the back here, got a good clean run at it, and it's very hard to stop that, especially if you haven't got your defender on you.
I think Troy Chaplin was expecting the pack to compete, but they all separated and allowed him a free run and jump.
Father Joe was part of the push for a Gold Coast team this week.
Blood rule here, Dwayno.
So Brogan on, and he's not happy about that. Nick Rewald from the Gold Coast, and his father Joe still up there. Both parents up there in the restaurant business. And Nick himself hasn't ruled out 100% return home. That's what he has in front of him. It's a wobbler. He has squeezed it through. He has 2.
Well, that was an important kick. Me and Jason Dunstall up here in the commentary box, we put the pressure on him, but given the conditions. But he went over the line. That was the free kick against Brogan. Went over the line. But good to see that Nick Rewald, he had a good jump at it. It's his second goal. He's confident. He's just working himself slowly into the game, and they're still there. They're still knocking on the door, St Kilda.
Two goals for the night, 14 for the season, back to 20 points. 8 minutes gone, third term. Kazitsky, free jump at it. Del Santo, handball. Kazitsky slaps it back. Laid almost thought about it. The taken Bursa's head off. And the wobbler by Montagna towards Clark. Slapped away from him. Carlisle dives in. Gardner steals it. Gives it to Graham. Has time to line them up. Across the face. Getting back. Revolt. And there's a free.
Certain free kick.
It'll go to Milne.
The umpire was in behind the goalposts. That's why he didn't call it any earlier, but certainly had hold of him. As you see here at the top, Pettigrew had him. Pushed over.
Well, he had a hold of his right arm. He wouldn't allow Milne to put his arm up, but he'll run out to the side and just open up the angle here.
Runs out to the side and he opens up the angle, but it was still pretty narrow behind.
He did Brendan Lade give him a spray going by too. They can't afford to waste these opportunities, St Kilda. It's going to be a tight, low-scoring game. You've got to make the most of it when you get the chance.
And throws a couple of little ones that wouldn't bruise an apple. Carlisle back to Chaplin.
Well, they go at him because they know he'll bite at everything, young Neil.
Yep.
Once he stamps that out of his game, they won't come to him.
Isn't that the beauty of his game in some respects? He can get angry and fire. Surgeon. Westhoff.
Well, he's got Matt Maguire as an opponent now because they were worried that Treadray was starting to get on his bike and get some possessions on Maguire. Now he's gone on to Westhoff, and the first thing that happens is he gets beaten on the lead.
Hudson was wrapped up. Treadray, Sean Burgoyne, right, here we go. One way then the other. Oh, he's dragged out. Is that ball?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, he took the player on. Even though he went out of bounds, he took the player on. Good decision by the umpire.
So Jason Graham. Half-back flank.
Stayed with him. Good technique. Looked at their hips. won himself free kick. Good tackle.
Thumps it long, hoping for a revolt. Blake's down there. Revolt read it well. Hands off. Burst. Xavier Clark on 50. Takes the mark.
Just sense a build-up in their tempo. They've lifted their intensity, St Kilda, and that boy Nick Rewalt, he's certainly taken a couple of marks which have been pivotal in this early stage of the third quarter.
You called it, Jace.
Yep.
He's got it.
What you
Armitage
didn't-
inside 50.
What you didn't see while that happened, Armitage was pushing into the space, and it was Shane Burse who just gave a fantastic shepherd on the Port player that was chasing Armitage. Just allowed Armitage to get that break, and you'll see in the background, you'll see Armitage pushing through. There he goes. The reason he's 10 clear is because of the shepherd from Burse.
Important kick this. Get some height on it. And
No one was manning up the...
I think it's
the
through.
goal line.
There was no one on the goal line.
They could have touched that, couldn't
It's
they?
there.
What's that? Well, that'll be interesting to see the replay here, because if that's the case, Choco Williams, he'll be absolutely fuming.
How can you not have a tall on the goal line?
And he's, well, look, he's 40 metres out, but that still doesn't give you any reason not to be contesting. No, it looked like just... it
Probably
just
would have
floated
been
in.
okay, but you've got to have a tall
Yeah.
down on the goal line.
Well, they're right in. This game has come alive.
Goal to David Armitage, and they are on the way back, the Saints.
Well, we mentioned they needed to get something out of Del Santo, Dwayne. They did. They took him off and brought Armitage on.
Lade and Kaczynski go down heavily in the middle. Fisher hacks it to half forward. Clark climbs high, can't bring the mark down. Chaplin through traffic. Logan. Dominic Kaczynski heads wide, not a lot on. There's a race on, that's what's on. And Motlop will get there second. Kaczynski first. Shoots up the handball. Montagna can go the journey from 50. It's a long high launch. Goal square. Touched off the fist.
Free kick to Revolt.
Kick.
Oh, boy.
There was a hand there. Well, the umpire was in best position, so we'll get a good chance on the replay to have a full view of this.
If you're going to remonstrate with the umpire, you might as well do it now because you're a metre out.
Yeah,
so
that's
give
right.
him a good spray, get it out of your system.
Nick Revolt's kick 2 so far tonight.
It's a present.
And he's put it right out of the stadium too, just to make a statement that this game is alive, and it certainly is. But good pressure by St Kilda. We mentioned they've lifted their intensity, and now it's in the mindset of the Port Adelaide players. So we see...
Oh, how can you give that a free kick? He's got his eyes on the footy, a legitimate attempted spoil. There's a little bit of contact there, but
just hit the top of the shoulder. That's where he's paid it.
Boy. I can see why he's so frustrated, because he made a legitimate eyes on the ball attempt to spoil the footy. His intention wasn't to take Revolt out of the play. Been a bit happening off the ball between the ruckman as well. This is a little earlier on. Have a look at this. The knee straight into the chest of Cozzy and just sits him down on his bum. They've been going at it behind play. Here we go again.
48 plays 41, the closest they've been since halfway through the opening term. Sean Burgoyne to Chad Corns. It's a toe poke on it. Travis Boak. Back into the corridor. Lade. About to get run down by Burst. Got a handball up. No.
They've lifted the Saints. They've lifted. And you can tell they're worried, Port, because Chad Corns has gone back in the midfield. They don't have the option of leaving him up forward with that sore finger. They've got to get him in the action.
Well, they have a history of being overrun in games this year, Port Adelaide.
Normally the last quarter, though, Dwayne. They've gone off early tonight.
They've won only one last quarter this year. And Brisbane's run did start in the third term. Maguire, Long, Brogan, good hands, plays on to Roden. No one inside 50 for Port Adelaide. Roden takes them on, runs on, bounces on, keeps going. Travis Boak, inboard Tredray.
Good smart play by Travis Boak. Could have opted to keep running and hope to kick it on his left foot.
Did you see the spray that Max Hudson gave Matty Maguire? A fierce spray.
Well,
Obviously thought that Maguire should have been able to do something about that, but he just stood there as Maguire put his boot down on the mark. You have a look at him here. Did you see him going off?
You do that in a quiet environment in the change rooms and after the game, but not on the footy field.
Nice off the boot from Big Wazza. And he looks at the crowd and says, give me something. He's got 2.
Well, just in a crucial stage of the game that Port Adelaide needed to get one back against the run of flow, because St Kilda have enjoyed this last, the 10 minutes of this quarter of having play going their way. Good contested footy. They've tightened up on their direct opponents, but good vision inside there. And he's...
Oh, it's on.
Yeah, no,
look at Maxi go off. He is livid.
Yeah, no, you can't do that.
And Maguire saying, well, what? I couldn't get there. He turned and had another go.
Constructive criticism.
It's constructive criticism?
That's it. That's what I was trying to say.
You want it to be constructive.
Well, it has to be constructive. You can't have it in that manner.
That might end in divorce, that one. From the ball up.
There's got to be a free kick one way or the other between those ruckmen.
Kasisi long. Ebert's on the prowl. Gets there. Handball not good. Missed Chad Corns. He's forced to chase down and got a little palm on the back of Blake, who gets it back in the 1-2 from Hayes. Thurston's in a 2-on-1. Can't take the mark. Logan leaves it behind. Ball. Which is exactly what the crowd yell, and they don't get it.
Well, just in case you missed it, we're just going to have another look at the spray between Matty Maguire and Max Hudson. Maguire on the receiving end, and he stops and has another go as he's walking away. Gives him another burst.
Well, that's why you don't do it, because TV stations like ourselves keep replaying it, and it's not good for the morale of the team, because opposition sides will use that next week.
That might end in tears, that one. Thurston's can't trap it. Now he dives in to trap it. Going nowhere. We'll get a ball up.
Choco Williams has identified that Nick Rewald's causing a few problems back there and dropped Thurston's back as that extra man. He's taken a couple of marks and he competed that last one there as an extra number.
Milne with the flying hammer. Kozitsky slaps it down. Umpire allows it to go on for a little while. Ball up. 17 minutes gone. Third term. 54-41.
What I was meaning, Wayne, it has to be constructive criticism, but not in that manner out in the footy field.
Kozitsky raked it down. Pettigrew caught high.
Gee, there's some feeling between these two sides, isn't there?
Well, they've got some history, of course. They played in the 2004 preliminary final. Port Adelaide stole that victory and then won the flag, and St Kilda were oh so close. Montagna beaten for it by Boak. Kick out of play on the full, free kick to the Saints. In fact, some of the Saints players were so scarred by it. Brendan Goddard admitted that he didn't even watch the grand final the following week. He couldn't stand to, and still hasn't seen it. Harvey, a wobbler inside 50. Chad Corns, front spot. Finger working nicely now. Peterburgo into Chaplin.
It's this next kick that's important because there's not much ahead of them. They're going to try and link it and run and carry. We've got Treadray on the lead.
Chaplin got it from Carlisle, gave it to Kane Corns, who slips it to Treadray, who holds it up. Now the pass, Travis Boak peeling off. Clark comes with him. Doesn't take him out. Boak takes them on. Modlop's in the pocket, lurking, got it.
Well, Xavier Clark, I mean, that will be on the highlight table Monday. Just keep everything before you and rush it over the boundary line, but...
he went the tackle with his hands, not the body.
No, you may be tired, and it is tough out there, but technique is vitally important, that you just neutralise the ball out of bounds, because then you stop this allowing from Motlop having a shot on goal.
What are we going to get here, Twain?
Wow.
He's looking, he's worried about the man out to the side. He wants to come out.
Has to come around.
He is the jack in the box, Daniel Modlop. He always pops up, but sometimes you just have to wait. And if you wait long enough, off he pops.
Well, he made a conscious decision there, and
Xavier
Clark coming from the ground, and that is just Ross Lyon would be furious in the box saying that tackle's not good enough. He's got Boak cold. All he's got to do is take the body.
Yep.
He reaches in with a couple of soft hands, not good enough, and it cost them a goal. But Daniel Motlop was an interesting one. He looked at Montagna standing to the side. He wanted to run out, and in the end he said, all right then, I'll just go with the set shot. And how good's that, threading the needle? 2 goals to Daniel Motlop for the night, 12 for the season.
60 plays 41. Port Adelaide back to that 19-point margin, which it was at half-time. From the ball up, Chad Corns through traffic, slick handball, Salopek long, Ebert gets there, his hands are back. Plays on, pokes it to the pocket, Modlop again. No free, crowd wanted it, Del Santo, the crumb to Montagna. Straight down the corridor, Harvey, held up, and still held up.
Chad Corns is enjoying a 5-minute burst in the last. I think he's gone in the middle.
Had his ear slapped by Chaplin.
They won't mind Nick Revolt getting the ball there, though. They'll cop it up on the wing.
Goddard takes on Boak. Wobbler. Revolt made it okay. Takes off, runs to 60, slips the 10-metre pass to Luke Ball.
Well, that time, that was a mistake by Troy Chaplin. He overcommitted. If he misses the spoil, he has to at least stay on the defensive side of Revolt. Here's another short pass to Graham. That's just a little bit of sloppy marking, and you can see Adapati Carlisle just going a little bit irate at some of his teammates.
Take the body there. Have to take the body at least.
It just allowed him to play on. So frustration at both ends. Defenders concerned about the commitment of their teammates to filling gaps and cutting off passes.
To get with the program. Straight through the middle. They're back in it.
Well, for what was a lacklustre first half, a scrappy and ordinary affair, it's become quite an enjoyable contest in this third quarter. We've seen a lot cleaner football happening at both ends of the ground. We're seeing more goals getting kicked, and we're seeing frustrations and physical aggression. We're seeing all sorts of emotions bubbling over.
Well, this is an important stage of the game where you do have to take your chances, be clean with your decision-making and in, I guess, going forward and no undisciplined mistakes.
Dean Brogan having a rest, laid in the ruck. Important minutes coming up here to three-quarter time, and the free kick will go Port's way. Played 22 minutes third term, 6 minutes and change to the last change. Thompson, wide, Kane Corns. Lee comes to the pocket from Ebert in his direction. Little push from Goddard.
You know what's interesting? We've seen Chad Corns move onto the ball in this quarter.
Yeah.
Sam Fisher's gone with him out of defence for St Kilda. It's great to have a defender of that size that also has the tank to be able to go into the midfield and match up on someone like Chad Corns.
This is within Brett Ebert's repertoire. He grew up just a drop punt from this pocket. Grew up on the lake, just over the road. Knows this ground well. Swings it.
It's coming
He
back.
knows this ground very, very well. That's his pocket.
Well, we're just answering each time that St Kilda put one on the board, Port go back. And it's like you said, Jason, it was a lacklustre first half, but certainly starting to reach some heights as we saw Brendan Goddard's hand on the shoulder. And the umpire was in the correct position there, picked it early, so it's an easy decision, yeah. Both hands, one on the shoulder, one in the back. But you mentioned it, Dwayne. That is his pocket, and he's kicked it truly.
The son of the gun kicks his first goal for the night. 66-47. (10-6 to 7-5). We're underway again. Laid. Blake quick off the square. Ball. Harvey. Short pass through the legs of Dempster. Sean Burgoyne stolen back by Harvey. Not a big goal scorer. Gives it off. Good bump from Carlisle. Ooh. Salopek. Kane Corns. Chaplin. Surgeon back with the flight. Couldn't bring the mark down. Fisher. Surgeon stole it back again. Pearce runs into Harvey, holding the footy. Centering kick from Robert Harvey. Luke Ball. He's got the lead from Kazitsky in his direction. Arm half held. Oh, got Logan high. Bang.
It's a big hit.
Yeah. Tom Logan's the kind of player who would enjoy that. just to wake him up a little.
Enjoy, Dwayne.
Yeah.
She said his head caved in and then driven into the turf.
Yeah, it's just a reminder there's a game on.
He must be some sort of masochist then.
Alapate Carlisle. Still a young player, Alapate. Still eligible for the NAB Rising Star Award is Alapate Carlisle, and yet he's never been nominated. All the way back to Peter Burgoyne. Pettigrew. Port Adelaide normally don't do this until there's about 2 minutes left in the term. Think about doing it early.
Can switch it again if he wants.
Long ball back towards Carlisle, who makes the ground. Harvey holds him up. Crowd want him to get on with it. Gives to Kane Corns. Kane's got a short. Thurston's. Talked about the crowd earlier. It's a reasonable crowd, 20,571. But at the moment stands as the lowest crowd ever been here to see a Saints Port game at Amy. Pearce, long towards Westhoff. Graham, falls, danger. Westhoff shoots it up, wasn't a throw. Roden takes on Graham, runs to the pocket. Motlop.
Gee, I'd like to see the Westhoff flick again. It looked a little bit too clean with the hand underneath the footy, didn't it?
But Jason, what I did like about it, he hasn't enjoyed a big night out there, but his work rate to get down and win the next contest, that's a certain flick.
Oh, it's a handball.
But great thing by Roden was he didn't blaze away and try and kick the mercurial goal. He saw, obviously, Motlop in his vision and just a well-weighted kick. So good discipline. They've had that in the last couple of weeks, Port Adelaide. They tend to look for their own inside their forward 50.
For his third, and hits the post.
Kicks it from the boundary and then misses the one he should kick.
Yeah, welcome to the world of Daniel Motlop. 2 minutes 44 to three-quarter time. It's a 20-point margin. It was 18 points at quarter time. It was 19 at half-time. Chad Corns waits under it. Can't take the mark. Gardner keeps it alive. Rolling ball. Harvey. Well, he took on Cassisi. He missed his boot with the ball. And Sean Burgoyne sees it out.
Another underrated player for Port Adelaide, young Jacob Surgeon. He's had the 13 possessions and seven of them have been contested, so the second most of his side. Good run from the half-back line.
Saints coach's box. Quick hack forward. Sean Burgoyne beats Dempster to the ball. Peter Burgoyne. Half-back flank. Position number 19 for him, Dean Brogan. 2 minutes and counting. Gets the call to play on, but no one comes at him. Hacks it long. Corns flies, can't bring the mark down. Bursts. Handball missed the target. Locked in. Dom Cassisi can't get it out. Umpire Matt Stevic will ball it up. As it stands right now, Port Adelaide has won every quarter.
But since quarter time, it's just been a fantastic arm wrestle, hasn't it? Just a couple of points separating them since quarter time.
Slap forward. Well played by Armitage. Gets it to Burse. Kicks it inside 50. Fist comes. Revolt's down there. Dives in. Met high by Peter Burgoyne. And he's down, Revolt. Maybe his shoulder injured. Harvey. Can't scoop it up. He's met too high by Brogan. And that goal won't be allowed.
Let's have a look at Nick Revolt first.
Got one on the shoulder
coming in here. And his head, you can see both shoulders very heavily strapped, and that's where he got met, right on the point of that right shoulder by Peter Burgoyne. And then Robert Harvey, head over the ball. You just have to be a little bit more circumspect in your approach on the contest than Dean Brogan.
And Robert Harvey's too far out to score. 55 from goal. We know he's one of the best 30-metre kicks in the comp. And there's a 10-metre kick to Gardner. Centering bomb. And getting back, Treadray. The captain came back to lend a hand. Westhoff. No one forward of him. Gives to Peter Burgoyne. Danger. Oh! He's brought down by Westhoff. Westhoff.
What was
That's
he
way
thinking?
too high.
The blame's got to go back to
Peter Burgoyne.
well, just for playing on. You played your teammate into trouble, and that was just a little bit reckless. Well, extremely reckless by Westhoff, but they shouldn't have been in that position at all. And similar to what St Kilda did earlier on in the first quarter by messing around with the football, Port Adelaide score a goal late on the siren, and here St Kilda got a chance with 30 seconds to go to score a late goal.
Massive kick this. It's across the face. It's still in play. Up flies Kazitsky, and he can't trap it. Ball out of play, but
Better
this
result.
is a perfect scenario for St Kilda.
Yeah, better result for St Kilda than a rush behind. Wayne gives them a chance to kick that late goal.
Back into play, and the seconds start ticking. Milne spins out of trouble, gets the kick away. It won't be paid a mark. Play on. Big fist comes. Thumb down to Pearce. Drag down. Still seconds. 2, 1. Treadrate drag down. 3/4 time. And it's still anyone's ball game. Port Adelaide's only won one last quarter this season. Brisbane kicked the last 9 goals on them here a couple of weeks ago.
A lot to say to him in that last quarter.
See what you've started?
This is going to be a great final quarter. I think, no doubt, Ross Lyon was planting the seed. He has to get his players to believe in something, get them to hang on to something, and that is the fact that they've trained hard, they've had a great pre-season, they can run over the top of Port. Port have faded.
And the other thing he'd be saying at 3/4 time, that Nick Riewoldt got himself into the game. Kick it long to him with a bit of pace to catch his direct defender, Chaplin, by surprise, because if he doesn't mark it, he'll certainly get a free kick, which he did in the goal square. So the question mark is against Port Adelaide, and we saw a very fired up Choco Williams at 3/4 time.
Troy Chaplin with the job on Nick Riewoldt, who's kicked 3 tonight so far. Underway in the final term, Port by 20 points. Hayes tried to slip the handball out, couldn't. Boak tries to trap it. Graham, ball up.
St Kilda are obviously worried about the impact that Stephen Salopek's had tonight. Jason Blake's got the job of running with him.
Laid. Rick's head front spot, couldn't decisively knock it down. Roden, ridden. Ball up.
You just think in the context of the game, Jagger, that St Kilda need to kick the first goal. If Port Adelaide kick it, in the context of how it's been a relatively low-scoring game, you'd think it might be too big a margin.
That and Nick Del Sano to have some influence and get some football.
Jack Corns to Kane Corns. Toward full forward, Goddard got there first. Oh, his handball smothered by Modlop. He's thrown it. Modlop's free. Anything could happen here from 30 out.
You've got a feel for Brendan Goddard. He did everything right. He played in front. He attacked the ball. He got caught in two minds to a handball to a teammate.
Yeah,
Max Hudson was standing still, so he didn't handball it to him. And then he just had the arm pulled. A little bit unlucky, but luck's of fortune. And Daniel Motlop, good chasing pressure. I hope you haven't put the Moz on him, Dwayne.
Doesn't normally kick through the ball from these positions. Likes to prod it through. Oh, he's kissed that. And kissed it sweetly.
And told whoever on the way through. But like you said, it's good pressure. Indecision there by Goddard. And if you're a forward that applies pressure, that's what coaches love, because the second and third efforts, you turn something that's not there into a goal, and that's what Daniel Motlop did. And he's enjoyed another night in front of the sticks where he's been active. He's kicked a couple of goals. That's his third.
Lee Colbert on the boundary.
You talk about players having plenty to say. Daniel Motlop was reminded about that kick down at Aurora Stadium and told him not this time.
Ricks and Laid. Laid rips it out of the air. Hands to Kane Corns. Treadray lurking. Pounces on it. Caught by Hodgson. Tried to thread a handball out. Toe poke. Ebert will get a Shepherd. Can he get the snap? Spins around. It's his forte. Unselfish to Corns.
Now, that is very clever thinking from Brett Ebert. The temptation would have been there, particularly when he got back onto his left foot, just to snap it over the shoulder. But he thought, no, I've got Chad Corns in my vision. Why don't I just centre the ball there and he can have a set shot from directly in front?
Good team discipline, and Roden did that in the third quarter. Could have been invited to have a shot on goal and kick a classy goal, but he leaked to find Daniel Motlop, who did hit the post. But that's their structures, Jason, and even when the game is there, they've still got that discipline, which is important.
For two within a minute, the Breeze grabs it and throws it away.
How bad do you feel, Chad Corns? As soon as he struck it, he had the hand up, walking back to the centre. Have a look at this. Oh, put it down, dummy. No. It's not going through. What are you doing? How can you do that, Checo?
No.
Dangerous here. Graham from the kick in.
Premature.
Hayes, Montagna. And Graham gets it out of the area. Bouncing ball to half forward. Thurston's slipped over at the inopportune time. No high on Pettigrew. Peter Burgoyne, Chaplin, Cassisi. He sends it wide. Sean Burgoyne and Dempster. Side by side they chase. Boundary line, the friend of Dempster. He knew it. He took it there. He gone.
Good tackle, Sean Burgoyne.
The umpire just went with the mood there.
Yeah, I think he was over the boundary.
Didn't do much wrong. Westhoff.
No.
He left it in. Hudson to Maguire. Chip kick. Boak got a fingernail on it and mops it up. Kane Corns a fumble. Shoots it out. Pettigrew rolls it towards half forward. Off hands. Kane. No free. Play on over the top. Del Santo had a bounce. It came back to him eventually. Hands it up to Fisher. Caught. Run down. Threw it away. Port Adelaide away. Kane Corns has Treadray. He's got Ebert. Or he's got Lade. He pokes it in the Lade direction. He'll have to motor. They get in their way.
Poor talk.
Del Santo.
That should have been the wrap-up goal, that one.
Maguire.
Great.
Hunted down by Ebert. No push in the back. No holding the ball. We'll get a ball up.
He's been in it. Yep.
I reckon Brett Ebert had to call Brendan Lade in and protect his front.
Yep. Justin Schmidt thumps it into the deck. Cassisi pounces, hands it off the boat. Montagna almost had him before he collected it. No prior opportunity, ball up. 74-47. Played 6 minutes, final term. Lade almost throws that to the back. Corns shoots it up. Westhoff for the confidence booster. Hits the post.
It is not an easy skill when you are running as fast as you possibly can to kick the ball. He had an opponent hot on his heels. It was Matt Maguire, and you could just see it was a mongrel kick off the boot. They've wasted some opportunities, Port.
But good in and under by Kane Corns, who won that hard ball get.
Stephen Baker, whose father ran on this ground when Fraser Gehrig kicked his 100th goal back in 2004. His father was here in the crowd, took off out on the field of play and gave Gehrig a pat on the bum during play. Treadray back inside 50. Graham left it behind. Fisher. Touch play on. Logan. Or did he have prior opportunity there? Ball. Half back. One-on-ones ahead of him. Needs to pick one out. And he picks out Peter Burgoyne. Long launch to Roden. Tough one this. Oh, he left it for Graham.
Well, it was a poor kick, but he needed to make a contest, that's for sure. They are just shooting themselves in the foot, Port Adelaide. They should have this match shot to bits. They still have a very good lead, but they've allowed St Kilda to still think they're a sniff.
Milne towards Revolt. Back of the pack. About to swoop. It took on Chaplin and got a goal from this pocket before. Centering kick. No one home. Clean ball, Brendan Lade. Montagna kicks the goal.
Clean bowl. Clean bowl. You could just see it. They've wasted opportunities at one end. All of a sudden, a half opportunity to the other. Even when the ball got kicked off the ground, here's Roden not going up.
He had to
force a contest.
Just force a contest. But well done, Nick Riewoldt, not to lose his feet here. Played it smart, kept the ball in play, keeps the ball alive. And as forwards, that's what you do.
A beautiful wronger.
It is a beautiful wronger. But, I mean, that is Nick Riewoldt's goal because of keeping the ball alive.
It's game on.
Now they're in their mindset.
Absolutely.
22 points the margin. A ton of time left. Lade. The last mistake. Hayes shoots it up. Thurston's comes hard, steals it. Roden. He wants to make amends as well. Salopek, Westhoff, good hands, and dragged down. Play on advantage. Brendan Lade saw the last one bowl him, meets this with the middle of the bat, kicks it central. Sean Burgoyne's down there. Hudson plays it nicely. Slap to Harvey, hand to Goddard. Sam Fisher, Lenny Hayes, Graham, Hayes, Graham. Oh, Fisher, middle of the ground.
That wasn't the intended target, but now they're on.
They're on here.
So Blake can take off. Revolt's gone down ahead of play. Jack Corns, big fist. Jack Corns dumps it down, but it's a mark.
Courageous.
Yeah, but that's a good win for Port Adelaide because he's held them up and he's allowed his teammates to get back.
Burst was nearly burst.
He did it without giving away a 50-metre penalty.
Yeah, you're right, Jason. It's held them right up now, and Port Adelaide have been able to push numbers behind.
Montagna short and
kick.
Touch play on. Troy Chaplin. He didn't hear the call, or if he did, he's trying to fool everybody. Peter Burgoyne. Low trajectory to Treadrake. Can't mark.
He was being held.
Crowd believe that too. Burst thumps it inside 50. Getting back almost, but not quite. Chaplin. Peter Burgoyne shoots it back. Salopek. Pettigrew. Chaplin. Cassisi. Only one-on-ones ahead of him. Touches it on the deck. Takes on Xavier Clark, who lets another tackle slip. Kick towards Ebert.
Good contest.
Flies, Westhoff. Montagna steals it. Not 15 to Harvey. Wants to come back inboard. Kositsky drops the mark. Dives back in, but slaps it to Kane Corns. Port Adelaide away.
Ebert.
No one ahead of him, Kane Corns. Turns it over to Graham. Hayes. Fisher. Chip kick, perfect. Gardner. And now Burst. He can go the journey here from 50. Long, direct. And a fist from Peter Burgoyne. Sensational. Luke Ball was in position A. Peter Burgoyne got back.
They've made some hard work for themselves, Port Adelaide, because St Kilda, they're up. They think they're a chance now. They've been led off with a few opportunities. They get the next goal, and there'll be all sorts of thoughts in the minds of the Port Adelaide players.
Peter Burgoyne to Chaplin. Thurston's on the line.
And they don't need to be doing this either.
No, they've got to keep attacking.
It puts themselves under more pressure. The best way they can win this game is actually go out and win it, not save it. Go and kick it 2 or 3 more goals.
Chaplin, Thurston's. Got Logan in the middle. Logan takes them on. Chaplin. Peter Burgoyne's calling for it. Cassisi gets it. It's got Peter Burgoyne if he wants him, and he wants him.
They just got to man up direct opponent, St Kilda, and force them to go to the long contest.
Westhoff calls for it wide.
This isn't helping him. Oh, now he shanks it off
Dangerous
the boot.
kick. Thompson caught high.
That was lucky for Port Adelaide. They made a mess of it. It was a dreadful kick from Peter Burgoyne, but a free kick given away.
Adam Thompson with some time. Westhoff.
That's it, Matty!
It's like they've gone into their shell.
Well, the Saints aren't manning up. They're putting a wall back there, and Port Adelaide refusing to bang it long to them. They do this time. And Treadrake gets the fly. Can't mark. Hudson to Xavier Clark. To Nick Del Santo. To Clark.
High tackle! Here!
Will come back.
Downfield! Xavier! Your kick! Downfield.
75 plays 54. Anybody's game. The natives are restless.
Just come around behind your mark, Xavier, when you grab it.
Just need to think their way through it, St Kilda. They've got to work the ball down and give themselves a good chance of kicking a goal, but it's okay to go backwards if you can play on straight away.
Dempster, little fumble. He's got an option short and wide, ignores that.
He's got an option in the middle of the ground, but he hasn't had a look. He had Lenny Hayes all on his own. He's still on his own.
Goddard. Thumps it long. Thurston flies and swallows it. Salopek. Dumped as he kicked it. Chaplin made it okay. Got a couple of options wide. One of them, Kane Corns. And almost, it is a brilliant mark from Milne. That can inspire them. Dumps it back. Goal square. Port get players back. Dom Cassisi. Thurstons. Back to Cassisi.
How nervous do they look? Port Adelaide, this is unbelievable.
Heads wide and it's out of play on the full.
Well, St Kilda have got to now approach this with a bit of pace. There's a fair mark by Stephen Milne.
That's brilliant, isn't
running back with the flight. But they need to play on at all costs and they've virtually got him on the back foot as it is.
Well, Graham sends it long and sends it wide. Behind.
Yeah, look, as players, they would sense the trepidation that the Port Adelaide players have at the moment. As you say, play on at all costs. Don't even worry if you make a mistake. Take your risks, but they can feel it coming, Port Adelaide. They know they're under pressure.
Saints conceding that kick to the pocket. They're allowing it. Port Adelaide using it. Peter Burgoyne takes on ball. Thurston sends it wide. Brogan gets there. Inside 10 minutes.
Just the runs not coming that they've had in the past. Motlop now breaks into space.
And Brogan hits him with a perfect pass.
And good block by Lade then.
Poke kick. And this time Lade can't get near it. It's out of play. And Lade will do the ruck work. Port Adelaide led by 18 points at quarter time, 19 points at half time, by 20 points at three-quarter time. The margin stands at 20 with 9 minutes and change remaining. Lade, back slap. Graham shoots out the handball, stolen by Boak. Handball inboard. Pearce, he couldn't trap it. Graham does, and handball's out of play. Player says it was accidental.
Been a quiet night for Daniel Pearce. We saw a pretty vehement tirade directed at him from Port Adelaide coach Mark Williams at three-quarter time, but just the 8 possessions for him needs to have some sort of impact in the last quarter here.
Pearce gets this one to Boak. Bouncing ball. Chad Corns dragged down. Didn't have it. You don't know how long Daniel Pearce had to prepare for this game. He was in as a late inclusion. Nathan Cracker out of the team at the last minute. Surgeon thumps it long. Treadray's down there. Almost raked it in. Fisher through traffic. Dropped it. Modlop toes it off the deck. Half missed it. Ducked his head. The umpire said, well, that's almost holding the ball. He allowed him the benefit, Lenny Hayes. He said, duck your head, but then didn't penalise him for it. The full
Well, he certainly did.
kick.
He dropped it right down. So good decision by the umpire.
They do play that holding the ball sometimes if you duck. Cassisi, he spins it around the body, and they can smell a win now. It's in their nostrils.
Well, it was just good forward line pressure there. Aided by Chad Corns and Warren Treadway. They just didn't allow St Kilda to clear that ball and run it out. And from the, I guess, a good stoppage there by Brennan Lade to be able to knock that to the top of the goal square. He knows where to put that each time.
Is that?
Cece, that's just a structured thing they do all the time, and Brennan Lade's done that a couple of times tonight.
Goal to Dominic Cassisi, the unknown soldier of this Port Adelaide team. He fights on every week. Got some bigger names around him. Doesn't necessarily get the accolades he deserves. But he kicks a crucial goal.
Yeah, I just wonder if that's the goal that'll release the handbrake now, take the pressure off Port and let them just play that attacking brand of football they played in the third quarter again.
Chad Corns off the side of the boot. Westhoff overran it. Blake to Harvey. They search for the instant reply. Montagna from Fisher dumps it long. Revolt's got a couple to beat, and he gets the free. No, he used the hands.
Just young Westhoff, Jason. That's a couple of times he's overrun the ball, or something that Mark Williams will highlight to him during the week. He's just got to get a little bit better in that department and not overrunning it, because a couple of easy possessions he's let go, but more importantly, let St Kilda run away with the footy.
Yeah, and there are times when you're under pressure, you just need to lock it in. You can't afford to do that.
Xavier Clark to Baker. Missed Goddard with the handball, and he falls Goddard. Pearce.
Oh.
What about that from Salopek? Wobbles it inside 50. Hudson He wanted the boundary line and he got it. But Treadway's happy with that. Surgeon it was with that attack.
Just bumped a couple off, didn't he? Ran straight over the top of him.
7 minutes and 8 seconds. The Saints sit 7th on the ladder right now, but their spot in the 8 in jeopardy now. Roden dives in.
They've just got to throw caution to the wind, St Kilda.
Burse. Lenny Hayes thumps it. Xavier Clark left it in the end for Goddard, who gave it back to him. Montagna around the body nicely. Del Santo. Open forward line now. Gardner.
Got to keep going.
Revolt's got 2 on him. Gardner doesn't want to give it up in his direction.
Just 10 touches for Nick Del Santo. He's been well beaten by Kane Corns tonight.
Milne. Clark.
And Kane Corns has had 30 himself, Jason. Been very effective.
And this is where you say the decision by Charlie Gardner not to play on, all of a sudden there's 30-plus players in the defensive 50.
Harvey turns it over to Modlop. Bad option. Modlop's away. Hasn't got a lot ahead of him, so it goes back to Kane Corns. Slips the pass into Logan direction, and he motors and gets there.
Hard running from Tom Logan.
No real need to kick this forward. Brendan Lade's the target and collects it.
It was a good kick in the end because he had Xavier Clark on him. Michael Ricks couldn't get there in time, and he had a run and jump over the couple of players in front of him, and Lade's just a quality tall man. He was always going to mark that.
And you said, Jason, a percentage kick. At least it was in front of him. As you see, there was 3 St Kilda players behind him, but at least he gets first crack at it. And if he drops it, he rushes the ball out of bounds. So that was a well-weighted kick.
20 gone.
Just chews the full 30 seconds off the clock and thumps it. It's across the face. Still in play and not driven through. Out of play is a win for Port Adelaide.
Fair grab too. We forgot about talking about the mark as well.
Ricks, ladies' man, if you know what I mean. Knocks it down. And we'll get another ball up.
Enlighten us, Brian.
He's ladies' man.
Lade, his man.
Ladies' man.
Ah, gotcha. Very clever.
No, it wasn't meant.
A very clever pun there, Dwayne.
Ricks.
Did you Jacko and I arc up?
Kick wide. Chad Corns.
Thought he was a modern-day Lothario.
There he is, lady. In game 201. And Michael Ricks, for that matter. Ball back into play. Brogan. Blake's with him. More seconds tick by. Del Santo. Handball, well, to himself, gets in Dempster's direction. And he doesn't get the free for in the back. Umpire says get it out. And Salopek takes it out. 81 to 55. 3 wins and 2 losses coming into this game. St Kilda, Port Adelaide 1 and 4. Not since the Kangaroos, or North Melbourne as they were in 1975, the team won the premiership after losing their first 4 games of the season. That's what Port Adelaide has to try and achieve this year now. From the ball up, Del Santo slaps it toward the boundary line. Pearce, and it's out of play. Side by side, Blake and Brogan. Pearce again, couldn't break free, doesn't really need to, neither does Stephen Salopek. Another ball up and more seconds tick by.
Yeah, the stoppages will suit him now. Happy just to run it down.
Jason, where do you play Nick Del Santo when he's not going that well? What can you do just to spark his form and maybe his side?
It's obviously a massive headache for Ross Lyon. Here he is breaking away now as you speak at the devil. He's always going to. But look, poor handball.
Yeah. Put Gardner under pressure.
Still mate.
He swings it wide. Chaplin, he left it behind. Thurstons collects it. Chad Corns. The crowd's starting to rise. They can sense it now. Centering kick, Peter Burgoyne, the half volley. Clark, good tackle. Umpire said he handballed it. Del Santo sidesteps a couple. He can drive it the whole journey, sends it long. Kazitsky getting back, can't trap it. Still alive, 2 to beat Kazitsky. He keeps them alive.
And gee, isn't he spent straight after it? But just like Nick Rewald did earlier on when they kicked that goal, he kept his feet, which is very, very important. We spoke about Nick D'Alessandro. Got another possession there, which was a good forward entry, but good to see the big fella keep his feet here and trying conditions. Once the big bloke goes to the ground, it's all, pretty much all over.
Have a look at Troy Chaplin. He peels off looking for the knock of the ball out. He needed to stay attentive to the contest.
He was spent straight after it.
Two goals to Justin Kazitsky. 3.5 goals, 3.5 minutes.
Yeah,
That's the equation.
I'm not ignoring the question either, Jacko. Nick D'Alessandro, we've just seen him chime in a couple of times. He needs to find a way to work harder when he gets a quality opponent like Kane Corns. And if not, he's either got to sit on the bench or go deep forward.
Ball to half forward for Fisher. Gives it back. Sends it inside 50. Milner flies but can't mark. Chaplin content to watch it roll out.
Hasn't had a big night on the stat sheet is Chad Corns, but since he's come on after half-time, after he had his 2 fingers taped up, he's just won some important hardball kits, especially when the question was asked for him in the third and in this quarter.
Neither team able to get a clearance. Ball up.
Westhoff and Pearce off for Port. Cassisi and Motlop back onto the ground.
Straight up.
20 points the margin.
Must kick one here, St Kilda.
Brogan down to Peter Burgoyne. Got the handball up. Thurston's with the reach. Chad Corns, Logan. Chaplin. And he sends it in the Motlop direction. Fresh man. Oh, Surgeon has to go.
He's a hard player, isn't he, Jacob Surgeon?
He's just got better as the game's gone on. And I mentioned before, he was equal in the contested possessions for his team. It takes him up to 8, but that was a great mark under pressure.
Never took his eye off it and knew there was traffic coming the other way.
And takes another 30 seconds off the clock. Thurston's. 2 minutes 15 remaining. Wide towards Motlop. Blake with the fist, thumps it out. That'll do Motlop. The Saints unable to kick a goal in the opening term. Port Adelaide led by 18 points at quarter time, and that's virtually the difference now. Saints tried to shut it down early and turn it on late. They haven't been able to turn it on late. Kane Corns to Treadray. Unselfish Salopek to put the cherry on top.
Must be just a set play of theirs. Every time they take a contest or take a possession, a mark or a free kick that's wide in their 50-metre arc, they always look inside. I mean, Warren Treadray would have been an excuse to go back and have a shot, and the game's pretty much over, but still endeavouring to look inside for a better option. And that's a good sign of a side. That's why they played off in the grand final last year, because they're very disciplined at their team structures.
Salopek kicks goal, and
they've wasted a few in this quarter, Jason.
They certainly have. They should never have allowed St Kilda to run them so close with the opportunities they've had.
it's a set play to keep the ball in their forward line. Missed that goal. Keep it down there. Goddard.
Ooh.
Danger. Good fist. Sean Burgoyne thumps it down in the Motlop direction. Fisher dragged down. And we'll get a ball up. Lee Colbert.
Very upset down here on the bench because Lenny Hayes and Goddard were actually interchanged that last stoppage, boys, and they were 2 men short in their defence.
Some defenders in that box. Stephen Silvani. Ross Lyon. There have been a lot of fingers pointed at who plays the shutdown game and who drags the game down and plays the ugly style. There's been argument as to whether the Saints have been the culprit, but they have been spotted leaving the scene of the crime quite often. Maguire, Montagna, Fisher. Lade slaps it back, ball. Playing out the seconds now. From the pocket, maybe another disciplined centering kick. It is. Jack Corns motoring, flies, can't bring the mark down. Ebert traps it. Handball misses tread rate. Jack Corns dives in. Gardner dumped. Milne, Graham, all incidental now for the Saints. Xavier Clark, Surgeon with him.
We spoke about it before, a couple of incidents. One, Xavier Clark, when he had to take the ball over the line. Young Jacob Surgeon just watched the flight of the ball there and knew that Xavier Clark stayed within, I guess, his touch and feel region so he could push him over the boundary line.
Knock it out, John, knock it out.
Cassisi asked by the umpire to knock it out. Doesn't oblige. And one more ball up before the celebration here at Amy Stadium. Mark Williams said Port Adelaide were the best 0 and 4 team of all time. Well, maybe that will prove correct. Surgeon gets back, towed out of bounds on the fall by Milne. It won't matter. Port Adelaide win 2 in a row. And last year's grand finalist starts the long climb back. But the Saints season is back on the ropes, and there'll be more question marks around their style of play.